Okay, back like we never left. Welcome to Fresh Tech Tips. I am Derrell Noris, CEO of Fresh Tech Solutions, and today I have some of my awesome business partners with me.
I'm Nicholas Mbaezue-Daniel, founder of Aegis Project Management LLC.
And I'm Dr. Doug Franklin, CEO and co-founder of Deck Launch LLC. How you guys doing today?
Doing pretty well on this lovely day outside. How you doing, Nick?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Can't complain.
What about yourself, Doc?
How about you?
A little rainy, but you know what? Got these Deck Launch and Fresh Tech t-shirts that I've been wearing pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, we need hoodies now and jackets.
Definitely I need a Deck Launch hoodie like yesterday. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we're working on those. The cold weather is coming, so yeah, we'll get those soon. So today's Fresh Tech Tip topic is feedback for your comeback. So it's getting close to the end of the year. It's time to plan because 2021 is right around the corner, and you know for sure it's going to be better than your 2020. So there's no better time than to get feedback for your ideas and your businesses than right now. So we're talking about feedback. I know what time it is. It's time for one of these beautiful definitions by Nick. Nick, what are we talking about when we're discussing feedback?
Yeah, feedback is information about reactions to a product, a person's performance of a task, or in that realm, and is used as a basis for improvement. Pretty much is information coming back to the source. So when you do something, it's important to know, hey, how am I doing, so that you can inform what your next steps are. Do I need to do more of this or do less of this? And whether it's positive or negative, it's very important. I mean, I tend to think the negative is a little bit more important, but definitely the positive feedback is also important. And want to give a shout out to one of our favorite clients, Miss Maggie Jean, who gave us a great feedback. She's actually kind enough to post a long post on her pages, on our platforms, about some work that we did for her. We did okay on the work, but she was gracious enough to give us very, very good feedback. And also she's given us also some negative feedback that she's getting here and there as well, because all of that is important. Nothing's going to be perfect. So it's good to get everything, all the information, so you can get a clear perspective. So feedback is extremely vital to business operation.
I mean, it's definitely important and crucial when you have the kind of relationship with the client when they're comfortable giving you that negative feedback.
Yes, yes, awesome.
So establishing that relationship is very important. So Doc, we got the definition down. So let's talk about why do we need feedback? Why is it so important?
So the first thing about why you need feedback is, basically part of our title. We're talking about your feedback for your comeback. So you're planning for the future, no matter how far close the future is. If you're talking about a couple hours from now, if you're talking about tomorrow, if you're talking about next year, you do need feedback to figure out what things you need to change. But why do we need to change? And that is the biggest thing for us as entrepreneurs, and business owners, or even as leaders. Sometimes we just get stuck in the weeds, the proverbial weeds, where everything that we do, because it's working right now, feels like it's right. And even if we know there's something that we need to fix, it's difficult for us to see because we have all been working in the same processes over and over and over and over and over again, to the point where it's routine. And when it gets routine, sometimes it's really difficult for you to catch things until it's too late. So that's why you get feedback. And so what does that do? That helps you help fix those processes, products, or services, really similar to what Nick was saying. The negative is real. There's negative feedback, really important to tell you, okay, this is what you need to change. This is what you need to leave in 2020. This is what you need to, and this is what you need to build because you don't have it right now. But also positive feedback can help validate the things that you thought were important to your business. So that is what you really want to be able to see as you seek feedback, because those are the major things that you receive from feedback.
Yeah.
So So I love that, Doc, because simply, I always say the data we need, needs to have needs to be transparent in our businesses. We need to know every inch of what we're doing so we can continue to grow. And if we don't have that feedback, then we're basically guessing. So
Yeah.
Nick, let's talk about what kind of feedback is important. Like what are we talking about as far as what data do we need to collect?
Yeah, and I mean, even before I even get into it, I would even couch it a different way. And I know we're talking about positive or negative, but for people who are listening to this, and Derrell, I love the way that you mentioned comfort. Not only for your clients to be comfortable with you, but you as your person need to be comfortable getting feedback. And then just see it as feedback. We're talking about in positive and negative terms. That's simply just so we can take action. But really, it's only feedback, because if something is negative now, it's not going to be negative in 3 months, because now you know what it is and you're going to fix it, or you're going to pivot. So it's just information. So treat it as such. So that way you can take out this thing from whatever trepidation you might have, stopping you from collecting feedback. Just embrace it. As far as kind of feedback we need to collect, people would notice that a lot of businesses pivot, and they pivot, huge behemoths pivot. Like you see right now, I was just complaining to some of my friends at how many streaming platforms I have to pay for. I mean, 7 months ago, I was paying for Xfinity. It was one place, and now they're trying to move and adjust. Now I'm broken off completely from that, and you're seeing everybody's rushing to get content now. Everybody's creating content. How did that come about? One company comes in, they start disrupting. People they get feedback. The whole customers are telling them that they like this, and you get feedback from either they're paying for it or whatever kind of data you're collecting. But point of it is they get feedback, and then they start moving around based on that. So customer feedback is extremely important, whether it's reviews or with their money and their support. If they like something, they're going to support it, and that's going to show you, okay, this is the direction that customers are trending. This is where the market is moving. That's definitely something to pay attention to. How your team feels about your internally, how our team feels about what you're doing. And the reason why this is important is twofold. I mean, your team, they're the people who are getting things done. So if they're not on board with something all the way, that's probably going to limit how successful whatever it is going to be. It's just as simple as that. But go ahead, bro.
And Nick, I got to cut you off right there, Nick, because the perfect example of this is Fresh Tech. Probably about a month and a half ago, we got overwhelmed. We were drowning. The one man show processes that I used to do wasn't working with the team, and and that's why I'm thankful to have you, Nick, from that project management standpoint, to come in and revamp those processes. And shout out to Sydney as well, because she had a lot to do with that work as well. But the fact that y'all are the team doing the work, you bring in the new system that you were comfortable with, and I had zero objections to it, because I know y'all are the ones going to be using that. So feedback from your team is very important. You want to, especially if they're going to be the ones directly affected by these decisions, you want them to be involved in those.
Yep, and the only thing that we actually didn't talk about, but still deserves to be here, is feedback from your mentors. Your mentors, if you have, like, if you're in any mastermind or brainstorming groups, anywhere where you get feedback, you can get feedback. You should try to get feedback. Even sometimes strangers are really valuable. If you just happen to be talking about work, as we tend to do at some point, go sports kids and work somewhere around there. But the reason why you get feedback from so many sources is that nature of validation that we talked about, and why. And you want to get as close to 360-degree feedback as you can. And so what does that mean? So basically, you have a perception of your performance. And so you should write that down so you understand exactly what that is. Then you should ask your mentor, you should ask your peer groups, your team, your customers, anybody that you can gain that additional information from, so that you can see it from as many perspectives as possible. And this is, so in doing that, it allows you to see how close you are to doing the right thing or the work you need to do. When I talk to my students about this, and when I teach research methods, this is pretty much what you call triangulation, where you have an idea, you think you have the solution, and you want to see if everybody else sees the same thing that you do. And that is, and the reason why you do that is because as soon as it's validated, then you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I think something that's important with that, and I love that 360 angle that you're talking about, and mentioned with your mentors, top down and bottom up, and from every side. But understand what their perspective is, so that when they give you feedback, you know what you're taking from them. Because some people have issues valuing certain feedback different. So if I talk to a stranger, I'm not going to just do everything that a stranger says. He has a clear view of something. He's unbiased. So there might be some key things. I might be looking at maybe some surface level opinions or anything like that. I know that's what I'm getting from them. From my mentor, I'm probably going to be a little bit more attentive to that, doing more stuff that he says. And if we have a disagreement with which direction go, I might lean a little bit more to my mentor because I trust them more on that side. So what I'm saying is, just be mindful of what it is that you're looking to extract from the feedback that you're getting, so that you don't take the wrong thing, or you don't leave something on the table that is important.
Right.
Excellent point, Nick. So we've discussed why we need the feedback. We've discussed what feedback we need. So now let's talk about how to get that feedback. Nick, let's hop right into this. Let's start with reviews.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are familiar with Google reviews and site reviews. A lot of platforms for feedback these days. Places like Yelp. We built some apps for people. That's always a section that we talk about with our clients. Hey, this is somewhere where you can collect information and interact directly with your customers. Give them that extra personal touch, that added value. Surveys is definitely something that I'd love to talk about it a little bit, but that's something that we build for clients, for them to go out there. Especially with their clients, if you're thinking about an idea, as we mentioned with validation, or you're in early phases of business operation, that going out there at certain points and find out, hey, how are we doing? How is this product? So that, because pivoting is so important in those areas. So we build surveys that are suited to whatever business is or whatever outcome it is, or whatever kind of data you're trying to collect. Interviews and focus groups.
Before you let Doug hop on this survey deep dive real quick, just going back to your point about that one stranger that you're asking about things. That's why surveys are so important, so you can ask multiple people. So if you have multiple strangers and they're all saying that same one thing, then that might be something you need to look at.
More valid.
Ignore those one-offs.
That's an awesome point. That's an awesome point.
You can tell I'm wearing off on these guys about research methods and stuff like that. This is the doctor.
That's a great point, man. Aggregating your responses there will give it more weight. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, this is research by osmosis. Now, these guys have been surveying for a while, but it's just really kind of cool that when they start talking.
Why don't you tell us about interviews and focus groups? I'll talk about surveys and then tell us about interviews and focus groups.
Most definitely. So surveys don't necessarily have to be that long. Generally speaking, people don't have like super long attention spans, but if you have the opportunity to ask a bunch of questions in depth to maybe some of the people that are really close into your circle, or maybe people on LinkedIn that are going to take that time, you could drop a 15 to 20 question survey, but people generally have about 10 minutes to do surveys, particularly if you're not paying them. And so you could ask so many questions, those 10 questions. And just based in the more answers that you get, as long as you make sure your survey is asking the right questions, then you have a big chunk of feedback that becomes validation and also things for you to move forward. And what we've started to do with our clients now is give them that strong recommendation, like, hey, we can help you survey in big chunks, or you can survey in smaller chunks. And so if your business is already on social media, you got it booming on Facebook, maybe Instagram. So now Why aren't you asking questions on your Facebook on your Facebook post? They have survey, they have a survey, they have a survey method where you can ask a question, right? Get your answers down, go to the next question. Same thing with your Facebook stories. You have a golden opportunity to be able to post those really cool surveys where someone or those two-piece questions, or let people ask you questions about their business. And you can do the same thing on Twitter with regards to live tweeting. Interviews and focus groups. So interview is pretty much a one-on-one thing between you and another person, where you ask them questions that can either be really direct or they can be open-ended, where you're just trying to pull as much data as you can. I prefer open-ended questions where you get to say, hey, so we are this is one of our flagship products. What do you think we could do better on? What aren't we doing as well on with regards to our processes? When you start to do things like that, you get a lot more really in-depth data compared to the survey. So a survey, you're gonna get 75% of people like it. With your interview, you're gonna get detail with regards to what you can do and why people like your business. Focus groups are when you get 3 or 4 people, or sometimes more. 5, I think, is the magic number for focus groups at the most part, where you ask them open-ended questions and people start to talk about your product or service to the point where they're actually becoming pretty much this think tank for you, and they're providing you information that you otherwise wouldn't get from one person, because we tend to actually be able to draw out better ideas sometimes when we're with more people. But when you put that stuff together, man, it becomes valuable. And most importantly, it doesn't have to be that complex. So you don't have to go and put together a dissertation. You could just reach out and call one of your clients, or call one of your friends that's going to give you honest feedback. It's the same thing as an interview, but like it's better for you to get it in real time if you can. So like if you can call someone to be like, hey man, I feel like I stunk it up today. This is what I did. What do you think? Stuff like that is just as valuable as you sitting up planning interviews and surveys where you're giving out gift cards, when you can reach out to somebody who's probably trying to talk to you every day anyway.
Definitely, Doug. Definitely, Doug. And the greatest thing about surveys is you're asking the marketplace to tell you what they want.
Yes.
So all you have to do is give it to them.
Yep.
So capture that valuable feedback. Take a deep dive into your business and try to figure out what truly happened with your business this year, so you can determine what needs to happen in order to make your 2021 comeback kick ass. Thanks for joining Fresh Tech Tips. As always, please follow us. Please follow our Facebook group, Fresh Tech Tips. If you need any help with mobile app, web design, social media, decks, if you have those ideas, reach out to Fresh Tech or Deck Launch. And again, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. I hope you got some value out of this today. Thanks for joining Fresh Tech Tips, and we'll see y'all next week at 12-ish.